skull side and fundus is towards the ear side. First genu is formed, it is an acute angled turn. The nervous intermediates leaves from here, the sensory supply of facial nerve goes from here, forms GSPN, goes towards the sphenopalatine ganglion and gives rise to lacrimal and olfactory sensations. The facial nerve then continues posteriorly, forms the horizontal or the second or the tympanic part. So the horizontal part has some landmarks which will be cob, cochleariformis process, oval window, and till pyramid it forms the second genu. From the point to be noted here is that the horizontal part can be dehiscent sometimes. So when we are removing granulations from that area, we should be aware that natural dehiscences are noted there and we shouldn't use a very sharp instrument. Coming to the vertical portion of the facial nerve, it forms second genu and this one is obtuse. Then it runs down. It will be in relation to the lateral semicircular canal, additus, pyramid as we have already discussed, and the posterior semicircular canal. So you can see this is the posterior semicircular canal and there is no structure beneath this. Facial nerve is not related to anything after posterior semicircular canal. So if you are doing a facial nerve decompression, we can remove the bone 360 degree after the posterior semicircular canal. So we might not injure anything else. After this, it reaches the stylomastoid foramen and goes towards the parotid, gives its terminal branches and ends there. I'm almost ending, please bear with me. Hypotympanum is the outer wall. The outer wall of the hypotympanum is formed by the tympanic ring and the superior wall is formed by the promontory. Importance again is that there can be retractions or cholesteatoma, and importance is again in glomus tympanicum surgeries where we have to remove this wall to access the tumor. Once you'll start drilling the cortex tomorrow, you'll encounter a lot of air cells. There has been a constant classification for it. The bone can be well pneumatized and you can have a lot of cells. It can be partially sclerosed and partially pneumatized and you can have a diploid type or the sclerotic. The most common diseases are generally seen in sclerotic because there is no air cavitation in that. The cells are divided into central group, peripheral group, labyrinthine group, petrous and accessory group. I'll be happy to.
Type of personality, they are usually diabetic, uncontrolled diabetic. And cholesteatoma, we see a lot of cholesteatoma cases. So these are the important causes, and then of course you have to just House and unsafe. This is the House Brakeman classification. In this, you find in type in grade 5 and 6, you have asymmetry at rest. And in type 1 to 4, it is a normal. At rest, the patient has a normal appearance in the face. So these are important. Let me tell what is COP. It has already been described actually by the speakers. What is COP? What is the importance of COP? This is a very important question in the exam. See, it's a bony projection actually coming from tegment tympani. It's vertically coming down, and it is dividing anti-aortic. It is dividing aortic into anti-aortic and posterior. Basically, anti-aortic is a very narrow area, actually just anterior to the head of the radius, and that is basically supratuberous viscus. Right. So in that area, sometimes when you're doing dissection in that area, sometimes the carotid, the internal carotid, which is in relation to the anterior wall of the middle ear, may have dehiscence or some aneurysm. So whenever you are clearing the disease from the protympanum area or supratuberous viscus area, you have to be very careful that there is no pulsation in that area, because there may be some dehiscence. Similarly in tonsillitis case, see, whenever you are doing tonsillectomy, I'm sorry I'm diverting it, but in these two cases, aneurysm of the aorta, aneurysm of the carotid is very important. Whenever you do tonsillectomy,